This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by ring legend Roy Jones Jr. over Zoom. Roy, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. How's life treating you?
Life's treating pretty good.
I'm glad to hear it now. We obviously just had a brief chat beforehand, and you said you've gone back home now, I imagine, for this festive period. So, are you struggling with jet lag, or have you managed to adjust back?
I've adjusted pretty good. I usually do well with the jet lag, so it's not really that hard on me normally.
Obviously, you've just travelled back from the beginning of, or rather midway through training camp with Chris Eubank Jr. Roy, just talk to me about initially linking back up. You wasn't due to be working with him for what was going to be him versus Conor Benn. So when he reached back out to you, was it an easy decision to work together again?
We already had made the choice that it was going to be a family feud with him and Eubank, and with him and Ben. And I was, it wasn't my family feud; it was their family feud. So, as many family members wanted to be involved, I think it was probably smart to let them be involved. So he said, "I'm gonna use you from here on out, but I just wanted to let my dad do this fight if we can." I'm like, man, go ahead. I want you to be comfortable. It's like it's not because of me they got to be in fight. It's because of his dad. He ain't got to be in fight because of his dad's name. So I was cool with that. And the transition after that has been pretty good. I mean, no problem here, no problem there. So far, so good.
You've obviously been training with him over in the UK prior to traveling back to the US. How's his camp started out, Roy?
Not brilliantly. I love what I'm seeing so far already, and that's a good thing because we only gonna go up from there. I love what I'm seeing already, and just gotta keep it focused and try to make sure we don't sustain no injuries, and everything will be good.
Right, I'm interested to get your thoughts on kind of Junior and making weight. Obviously, when he was due to face Conor Benn, we saw him put a photo out where a lot of people commented felt like maybe he was weight drained a little bit and he didn't look in the best of shape trying to make weight for that Conor Benn fight. Now, obviously, he's fighting back at his more natural weight of 160, but how do you feel he is physically at that weight?
Physically, he can fight very good at 157. He can fight very good at 160. I don't think 157 is gonna bother him much. I mean, you gotta understand that there are differences. You gotta know the difference in guys making weight. Guys who struggle to make weight, that would be one thing. Guys who don't struggle to make weight, it's not a problem. Go down a few more pounds. When I first started working with him, I told him if he hadn't been so accomplished already, he would have been better suited to start out as a junior middleweight because he's not really a big middleweight. But he was fighting super middleweight when I first met him. So it's like he could have been making junior middleweight then. So I didn't see the weight being an issue for him at all. Just a matter of him having to tighten down a little bit more and probably be a little bit more disciplined on a few things. But the weight wasn't going to hurt him.
Did you see that photo, the one which I'm referring to?
Yeah,
What did you make of that photo in particular?
nothing at all. Chris being Chris. Chris is very smart. Chris knows how to handle himself in the media. Chris is, to me, he's a media genius. That's why I like working with him because he's a genius at being able to handle the media the way he's supposed to handle it. So I think he did an awesome job getting prepared for that fight. Um, he gave people what they wanted, and I think it was going to be good.
So, Roy, I'm presuming you're not allowing him to eat any KFC in this camp.
Well, the thing about me is I'm a grown man, and when I train to fight, they couldn't stop me from eating what I want to eat. So I don't try to stop fighters from eating what they want to eat. As long as he make weight, I don't care what he eat. As long as he good with it, he make weight, I'm cool. So it's like it's not my job to raise a grown man. He's a grown man already. He know what's good for him and what's not me. I did what I did. People could have told me, you can't eat that. I'm gonna eat it anyway if I want to. So that's what grown ups do. you know.
Roy, before we do come on to the Smith fight, then let's just stick with Conor Benn. It's obviously been an ongoing topic. Has he spoken to you personally about that fight? Does he say to you in the gym, "I want that fight next"?
Nope. I haven't said one word to me about it, and I'm not concerned about it because my focus right now is Liam Smith.
That's fair enough, Roy. What do you make of that entire situation? I know you wasn't a part of it, but when you found out about what had gone on and the releasing of the adverse findings, what was your thoughts?
I don't know. God knows best. So whatever was supposed to happen, happened. If that's what happened, that's what happened. We don't worry about things like that. We can't change the past. We only can affect the future. And my goal is to try to make sure we keep on affecting the future. So I can't really do nothing about what happened in the past. I can just try to make sure we have a great effect on the future. And that's trying to get him as best prepared for this Liam Smith fight as we can.
You mentioned being best prepared for the Liam Smith fight then, Roy. Looking towards that, I went to visit Liam last week, or maybe it might have been the week before now, and he's adamant he has it in him to be able to stop Chris Eubank Jr. He admits Jr. has a great chin, but that doesn't mean he isn't unstoppable. What version of Chris Eubank Jr. should we expect when he steps between the ropes under your tutelage? We've seen him box a bit more, but yeah.
Well, for me, man, it's like this. Chris Eubank's good enough to beat Liam Smith without me. And I think that either Chris can beat Liam Smith, whether he boxes or whether he chooses to brawl. Because you gotta remember, I hear what they're saying, but Chris has been fighting at natural middleweights, and he even fought at super middleweight for a while. So Chris knows what the bigger punches feel like. Chris knows what the heavier guys look like and feel like. Liam went up to that weight, but he fell back down to junior middleweight. Well, because he don't fare well at that weight. Well, now he come back up to middleweight again. He don't fare well at middleweight. You understand me? He's just not big enough. So for me, I'm not saying that he's not good enough, because he's good. He's a very technical fighter, high-tech fighter. He's a very good technique, keeps his hands high, very disciplined fighter, very good pressure fighter. But in that sense, if the guy you're pressuring is bigger than you and stronger than you and faster than you and is in as good a shape as you are, how you gonna beat him? And that's what I see. So I don't know.
One thing people are curious by is how he does approach this fight, then, Roy. And as I said, when he's been working with you, we've seen him look to box more so than what he had previously. Going in against Liam Smith, somebody who's aggressive, will come forwards, try to walk Junior down, will close the distance. Will we see Junior maybe revert to type a little bit, look to engage more, or is he looking to stick to what you've been working on him and looking to show more of his boxing skill set?
Yeah, well, what you gotta understand was that I was working on the boxing skill set just so when he needs it, he can revert to it if he needs it. I'm not reverting on to change him from being Chris Eubank Jr. trying to be a Roy Jones Jr. nothing like that. I'm not doing that. I'm giving him another set of tools in his bag that if he needs them, he can use them. So whatever tools he chooses to use in his fight, whether it's to brawl like the old Chris Eubank used to do, or if he chooses to brawl like Mr. Boxing in with it a little bit, that's all on him. My goal is to fill the toolbox up with options. Once I fill it up with options, he uses whatever options necessary. It's not my job to pick the options. It's his, but it's my job to help him get the options. So it's my job every day to give him more options to use when he's in there, so that when he gets in there, whatever options he wants, if he need a hammer, wham, he got it. If he needs a sledgehammer, wham, he got it. Whatever he needs is in the box. You understand me? My job is to fill the box. His job is to figure out what he needs.
Roy, on that note, then, I'm interested to know, as there's been a story which has been going about with Liam Smith, and he said, him and Junior have reflected on their past sparring experiences together. Now, the story going around is that Liam dropped Chris Eubank Jr. with a body shot. Has Junior spoken to you about that at all?
Never heard of such foolishness in my life.
So is that as in like the story itself is foolishness, or Junior's not spoken to you, or?
I've never heard of such foolishness in my life. Because I think if he would have dropped Chris with a body shot, Chris would have told me that.
Okay.
People said that's why he want to fight, because he think because he dropped with a body shot that he got something. So I think if that would have happened, he would have said something. Or Chris would say that's why he thinks he can beat me. But this ain't Chris of old, this Chris of new. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens indeed. I mean, you move forwards. I know you won't want to look beyond the challenge of Liam Smith, as you mentioned earlier, but what could be next for him if he comes through unscathed? I know the Conor Benn fight's there, but away from that, what does he want? Does he want world titles? Does he want big money fights? What would you like to see for him?
Well, I'm sure any fighter would want world titles. That's what all fighters fight for. I mean, they fight for the money too, but the world titles usually bring the money. So of course, I know he's looking for a world title, but at the same time, this is what I love about the situation right now. Chris Eubank Jr. has such a big name in the UK that as long as he fights another big name UK fighter, there's always going to be interest there. You understand me? So he don't have to go look for world titles as his only opportunity to make paydays, because people in the UK will do anything or pay to see him fight just about anybody who has a chance to beat him. So he's not like these other guys. A lot of these other guys, they don't have a father named Chris Eubank Jr. Senior. They just got to go on what they do. And so they got to go try to make big fights happen or nobody knows or cares what they do. Chris comes from a lineage of a name. So because he's Chris Eubank Jr., everybody wants to see whether he going to make or break. And quite naturally, most people want to see and hope that you don't make it because your daddy was such a great fighter. But at the same time, that's your goal, is to make or break and to prove these people wrong. So he gets fights that make more sense than other people would that don't even have to be title fights, because people want to see what he's gonna do. You understand me? So he's in a great situation. He don't need to worry about who's next. You know, it's like I had told his father before the fight with last two guys, Brook and Amir Khan. I had told the father, let's fight Brook. Why? Because Brook was a big name in the UK. That's a big fight. That's bigger than a title fight in most places because it's Brook. He said, no, but that was a good fight, a fight that would give us an opportunity to work on more of our boxing game too, and would have got us even more prepared for this Liam Smith fight. But you know, you can't. I don't try to kick the bucket over. You just try to put in your input, but if they don't take it, you have to move on. I'm just straight, so I ain't gonna come and tell you, but hey, this is what y'all gotta do. I can't, but I give suggestions that make sense. And that suggestion made sense to me because that was a great fight. It's a big money fight because it's Eubank and him. Those are big names in the UK. Everybody would pay to watch that fight. They still pay to watch it because Kiel don't like Chris. And I don't think Chris cared much about Kiel. So that would have been a great fight for the UK fans. You feel me? Yeah. And it still is a great fight if Kiel decides to come back. So that's why I try to tell you that Chris has options. Unlike other people, he don't need a title for his options. He got options.
Interesting name you mentioned there, and it's a great one to touch on. Kell Brook, obviously. What did you make of his performance against Amir Khan, and what did you see that you feel Junior could exploit?
Well, he had a really good performance against Amir Khan. It actually surprised me because I was expecting to win, but not in that fashion. Because Amir is still a good fighter too, but he had a very good showing against Amir Khan, and he's still Kell Brook. You know, Kell Brook is a good, strong, basic fighter. So if you're an advanced elite fighter, you should be able to beat Kell Brook. But if you're not, Kell Brook gonna beat you. So I think Chris is an advanced elite fighter. So being that he's an advanced elite fighter and a much bigger fighter, Kell Brook shouldn't beat him. But he should be able to work on his whole game with Kell Brook. He shouldn't have to go out there and just pummel Kell Brook. You should go out there and work on your whole game against Kell Brook because Kell is good enough that you can play your chess game with him. You understand me? He's just good enough that he ain't gonna blow you out with one punch. So that allows you to play the chess game. Whereas Liam Smith punches hard enough to blow you out with one punch. So you gotta be a little bit smarter about how you play the chess game with Liam Smith. You feel me?
Would you revisit a potential Kell Brook fight then? Be honest, you mentioned options. He could be one of them. He's back in camp training with Dominic Ingle. Could he maybe be next?
Hold on. It went quiet. Hold on. Say it again.
You mentioned in Kell Brook, we know he's back in camp now. He's training with Dominic Ingle once again. Do you think that fight could be revisited then between Junior and Brook, provided January 21st goes to plan?
Yeah, of course. Kell Brook is always something we'll revisit because Kell Brook, to me, is a strong enough fighter to make us work, but he's also durable enough to give us the opportunity to work on the things, work on the gym, if we put it off the right way. So he's gonna make us work, but we should be able to outsmart our boxing. If we can outsmart our boxing, then we're making progress. We can't go in and just bully him because that's not what I want. That's no change from the old Chris we used to be. We can go in and outbox Kell Brook, and now we're doing something. Now we're making progress.
Another couple of names to throw at you, one being Gennady Golovkin. Now he's going to be coming back down from 168 after losing to Canelo. Do you think that could be a feasible fight? Both world titles that he holds as well on the line.
Of course, we would love that. I mean, I'm sure Chris would love to have that fight next because Gennady has such a big name too, and it would be world titles. So now, if he beat Gennady and get the world titles, now he can come fight Kell Brook in a title defense. You know how much that makes it even better. You feel me? But like I said, first thing first, we got to handle Liam Smith first.
People talk about age in boxing, and we saw how Gennady looked against Canelo. With that in mind, what type of performance would it take from Chris Eubank Jr. to overcome Gennady if they did share the ring?
Well, he got to now. That would be the time that he got to mix his boxing with his old self with his new self. Now we get to find out how well he knows how to balance that toolbox. Because the new Chris has a lot of tools, the old Chris had a lot of tools too. So now you take, and now we're gonna figure out how do we balance that box out to beat Canelo. That's why I would like to see him fight Canelo, because now I can see how much of it he got, how deep he got it, because now how well you know how to make those transitions are gonna tell if you beat Canelo or not. If you don't know how to manage those transitions, you won't beat Canelo. But if you know how to manage those transitions, you will beat him. And that's why I like the Kell-Brook fight, because it gave us an opportunity to also practice on managing those tools. If we can manage those tools, we can beat anybody.
Kind of continuing there then, Roy, one final name of potential future opponents is Canelo Alvarez. I've seen Eddie Hearn mention that Junior might be in the running at some point to maybe step up and fight him. It seems like Canelo will face John Ryder next, but I've asked you in the past, how would you have fared against Canelo if you'd have ever fought him prime for prime? How would Junior fare against Canelo?
That's a good fight for Junior and Canelo. Reason because Junior is such a great fighter already, and Canelo has such a great name already. So to me, it's a very good fight for both fighters. I think speed-wise, Junior probably has the advantage. Power-wise, Canelo may have the advantage. Size-wise, Canelo definitely has the advantage. But Junior is the kind of guy that can adapt to anything. So I think it's a beautiful fight, a very competitive fight, and one that Junior can win.
Right. Picking that back up, obviously, we've just had a few connectivity issues. I was just coming on to Anthony Joshua. When I last saw you, he was in Abu Dhabi, and he mentioned, and he'd come out that he might come and do some work with you, see if there could be a potential training relationship there. Did that come to fruition at all?
No, it didn't come to fruition yet. He went to the United States. He's over here. I think he came and worked with our Errol Spence's team for a minute to see how he fit in. And I just hope he found a good fit. I don't care where it is, whether with me, whether with them. I just want him to find somebody that can help him advance his game so he can get back in, make him a few more, get him a few more wins, make another run at it, then call it a day maybe, But I just want to see him try to get a little bit better before he stops, because I think he has room to improve.
When you had that initial conversation with Anthony, Roy, what did you say to him? What did he say to you about what exactly he's looking for, what you feel you could bring to him potentially?
He said what he was looking for. I told him the way I do it. And he said, okay, listen, I'm going to come to the gym and check it out. I said, all right, cool. And that was that.
One thing people have been keen to see with Anthony is to get back to seeing a more of an aggressive style of him, bringing, as people mention that word dog, bringing that back out of him. Do you feel like you'd be able to do that? Do you feel that's what he needs?
Well, I don't know. I see him in the gym before I figure out what he needs. It's a such thing as having a dog in you, but it's got a lot of times people got to remember it's thousands of breeds of dogs. What kind of damn dog?
It's a great analogy.
Every dog ain't the same. What kind of dog you gonna bring out of it? So you gonna put a pit bull, a Rottweiler, a Doberman, a poodle, a cocker spaniel? What kind of dog you gonna bring out of them? So we always tell the dog what kind of dog we bring, because certain dogs gonna be fit to take what other dogs can take. You understand me?
Rory, that's a fantastic analogy there. Have you spoken at all with him since?
No, he just texted me and told me he was over in the United States last week. Said he'd be back around the 20th. So I'm sure he's probably getting back today, as a matter of fact. Then I should get back around the 23rd or 24th. So if we can make it, probably 26th, 27th. So if we can make it happen, we will. If not, then he may have found what he wanted in the United States already. So I hope he did. I hope he had a great visit with Spencer's team, and he may have found what he needed. If he found what he needed, he could be okay with Derrick James. And if he's good with that, Derrick James, I'm sure can teach him something and put a little more dog in him, because they definitely believe in that attack game out there. So that might be good for him.
Roy, what do you feel you could bring to Anthony Joshua?
What could I not bring? I'm one of the greatest to ever do. I did whatever I wanted to do. So I can show you I do whatever I wanted to, because I did whatever I wanted to when I got ready. And who was going to stop it? Nobody. Why? Because they didn't understand it. So what can I not bring to it? You understand me? So for me to hear people say, oh, we don't know, man, please, if I can't teach you, you don't want to learn.
Roy,
that's the only way I can't teach you. You don't want to learn.
Some great lines here, Roy. Just kind of looking at Anthony then and what could be next for him, regardless of whoever's training him. How would you like to see him move back into the mix at the top of the heavyweight division? Would you like to see him slowly rebuild, or straight back in the deep end, looking at a Deontay Wilder or somebody?
You can't go into a Deontay Wilder fight after losing 2 fights to Usyk. That doesn't make sense at all. You understand me? So it's like, that's not the way you go. Now you find somebody else who ain't quite the puncher as Wilder is. Get yourself back in, get yourself back used to winning. Then you go try to get yourself comfortable with making adjustment, whatever adjustment that whoever train you make. Once you get comfortable with those adjustments, then you go fight Wilder, because hopefully those adjustments have made you better. You got comfort back in the ring again, along with getting better. Now it's a good fight between you and Wilder. Now you probably can beat Wilder. It's very possible. But you coming off 2 losses against Usyk with the confidence being down already, if Wilder hits you, we don't know. That's going to be crazy. So I wouldn't say go right in at Wilder right now until you get you another win back, to get yourself back comfortable in the ring. Then you fight Wilder. Wilder ain't just a normal heavyweight. Wilder's one of the hardest puncher heavyweight fighting right now. Wilder, you got to be mistake proof. If you make a mistake with Wilder, it could be over.
Roy, I'm interested to get your thoughts on Anthony's loss in both times, but specifically the second one to Alexander Usyk, because of his style and how you used to box, your slick style. I'm sure with your ring IQ, you'd have been able to see things that maybe Anthony couldn't. But as I said, that word aggressive earlier on was mentioned. What would you have advised Anthony to have done differently in that second fight?
It's not about doing it differently. It's like having calculated aggressiveness. You gotta be able to calculate your aggressiveness. You can't just go out there and just say, "Oh, I'm gonna be aggressive." No, Usyk too smart for that. You gotta have calculated aggressiveness, meaning that there are ways you gotta attack, but you gotta do it in a calculated way so that he don't understand what's really happening. You understand me? You understand, but he don't. And nobody really broke that down to Anthony that way. So Anthony thought he just walked forward, and that didn't work. When he tried to just walk forward, that doesn't work. Usyk too smart for that. So it's like, it's ways to do it. I'm not going to do that, but that's not my job. I'm not going to do somebody else's job. But there's ways to do it where it's calculated aggressiveness, and it makes a whole difference.
Roy, just sticking with the heavyweight division, one final one. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk setting up a potential fight next year. Seems to be the green light has been given for it. Your thoughts? What happens in that undisputed heavyweight title bout?
It's a very tough fight. And like I say, it's always hard for a good little man to be the good big man. And right now, you got a good little man versus a good big man. That good little man gets some explosiveness behind his punch, he got a chance. But if he don't get no explosiveness behind his punch, it's very hard for him to beat that good big man.
So who are you predicting to win? I presume Tyson on that note?
I mean, I got to go off the top. You got to go with Tyson, but Usyk is a warrior. Don't get it wrong. And if he gets some explosiveness behind the punching power, it could go differently. But if he don't get that, I can't see him to beat Usyk. Because Fury too tall.
Roy, I appreciate you stopping by to do this interview now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.